And we'll move on to our next coach from Houston, Kelvin Sampson. His Cougars claimed the outright regular season championship and the number 1 seed in the American Athletic Conference Championship, sponsored by Air Force Reserve. Coach Sampson, congratulations, and please run us down your team heading into the tournament.
Run down what?
If you could just tell us a little bit about the Cougars as you head into the championship tournament.
Oh, okay. I think the thing that I've liked about our team this year is that every kid's a high character kid. So when we go down to the court every day, we're teaching basketball, working on scouting reports. We're not dealing with discipline problems or any of that stuff. And that's a credit to our staff and evaluating the right kind of kids that you can win championships with. I mean, that's a common denominator with most championship level teams is that they have high character kids that care more about winning than they do statistics, and that's how I would describe this team. But what we've done is just got better as the year's gone on. I thought we were better in November than we were, December than we were in November, and then January, December, February, January, and then now we're in March. You just have to convince your kids every day that you can get better. That sounds like coach speak, but it really isn't. I mean, if you're not working every day to, whether it's transition defense or post defense or offensive rebounding or ball movement, you've got to pound the rock with something. And that's what these kids have really embraced, is going to practice every day because of our depth. We use our practices to compete, but we've been lucky that way. I mean, we're very fortunate that we've been able to put a team out there in practice that can go at each other. Giroux versus Robinson, Hinton versus Davis or Brooks, Caleb Mills, kid we have sitting out, goes against Armani or Corey every day, and then Fabian White versus Sed Alley, and then we have another good player sitting out, Justin Gorham. Those guys go at it. Then our fives, Breon Brady, Chris Harris, Bryson Gresham. So I think the strength of our team this year has been our ability to get better through practice and having that carry over to games, and these kids embracing winning more than anything else.
Thank you very much, Coach. A reminder to our media members, *1 on your keypad to ask a question of Coach Sampson. Time will now open it up to our media questions.
We'll take a question from Don Wade with the Daily Memphin.
Yeah, Kelvin, what's your feeling on how much weight should be given to regular season versus what happens in a conference tournament when it comes time to put teams on the NCAA seed lines?
I think you answered your question. With the question. You're asking to weigh 31 games versus 3. So the regular season is far more important.
Do you think that it turns out that way, or do you think sometimes it goes the other way?
Well, I think there's scenarios that can be skewed. Especially if a team has had injuries, and they're getting everybody back healthy, and they get to the conference tournament and they win 3 games in 3 days because they've had guys out. But I think it has to be scenarios about that. Everything being even, you had 18 conference games to prove your worth. And then now we're going to go play 3 games in 3 days, which is unusual and unique from anything else you'll do. I watched South Dakota State play. And I saw that Dom kid. That's that's a shame that kid's not in the NCAA tournament, but, you know, that they didn't win their conference tournament. So those are tough deals. But, you know, in these really good leagues like ours, you could have 5 or 6 teams that are all worthy. Teams are playing better at the end of the year, can prove themselves in the tournament. But overall, I think the way you weigh a team is not whether they lose the first game of the conference tournament after they had a great regular season and say, well, they're not worthy. But then you're weighing one game versus 31 or 18.
Do you worry at all about, you know, team getting worn out going through a conference tournament? I mean, we've seen it go both ways. We've seen teams win conference tournaments and go on great runs in the NCAA, and we've seen them win conference tournaments and go out right away.
You know, and please take this the right way, but when I was at Oklahoma, we won 3 consecutive tournaments. And after the first one, I was sky high. I mean, I think we just beat Kansas or Texas. I can't really remember, but it's probably one of those guys. Missouri, maybe they were always good because the tournament was in Kansas City at Kemper Arena. And then, you know, we had to stay after the game. We went up to a suite in that arena. And then we wound up getting home about 10 o'clock that night. In 3 games in 3 days, we didn't have great depth. You know, my best players all averaged 37, 38 minutes a game, and every one of those games were bloodbaths. And then you look up, we're playing at 11 o'clock on Thursday out west. Let me tell you something. That's a factor. Because you're not practicing on Monday for sure, and you probably should take Tuesday off too. That time of year is about rest, but that's real. That is real. That's why I've always said, and I talked to our athletic director about this, Joe Castiglione about this at Oklahoma, that why don't we ask the committee, if you win your conference tournament and you play 3 games in 3 days and your tournament ends on Sunday, that you automatically are in the Friday-Sunday bracket just to give those kids a chance to recover. But sometimes just putting those brackets together just doesn't work out that way. But that is a factor.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Chris Gardner with Houston Round Ball Review.
Coach, how are you? You touched on this Sunday.
Hey, Chris.
If you can, talk about once more how if the team did, the mindset changed after the loss to UCF.
Well, sometimes I think you make too much out of a loss. I never have. I mean, I just don't overreact to wins or losses, really. You know, it was amazing some of the questions I got asked about after the loss, and you know, I kind of had to look back at our record to see. So we're 27-2. You know, I think we're at the time 14-2 in the league. I just didn't think that loss was. If anything, it was more embarrassing to me than worried about the team. But in all fairness, I think you probably, certain kids in your team, you can get their attention a little bit more after a loss. But nothing really changed with our team as far as who we are. You know, we didn't get any new players or put any new stuff in practice. You know, sometimes there's a little reminders of what's important. Don't lose sight of who you are or what we are. We started, I thought we had a great chip on our shoulder, you know, losing Rob Gray and Devin Davis and Nura and Wes Van Beck, you know. Those 4 guys were all big part of our rotation. So there was a little bit of a fear factor for me, not necessarily a negative fear, but just a fear factor. You know, you weren't quite sure what your team's going to be. All of a sudden you look up and you've got that surreal record, and you lose the game, and all of a sudden the narrative changes. And I just don't think it changed with us. We just kind of grabbed our hammers, just got back to hitting the rock.
And one last thing, just your thoughts on how Nate Hinton played Sunday in Cincinnati as a freshman.
I'm sorry, Chris, say that again.
Nate Hinton's performance in Cincinnati on Sunday?
You're breaking up. Did you say Nate Hinton?
Yes, Nate Hinton's performance in Cincinnati on Sunday.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, in the last two games, Nate's got 10 offensive rebounds, and that's something we've been focusing him on. Is that Nate played point guard on his high school team, and when the ball was shot, he was usually getting back. So it's been an adjustment for him to go seek missed shots, go get offensive rebounds. But freshmen are like, if you put 3 rabbits in a room with a freshman and tell him, go catch a rabbit, he wouldn't catch none of them. Because he'd be chasing the one closest to him. He'd be about to catch one, and here comes another one in his peripheral vision. He'd leave that one and go chase that one. And then he's about to catch that one. Here comes another one. You go chase that one. After 2 minutes, you open the door and say, Nate, how many rabbits do you have? Well, he doesn't have any. But what freshmen have to do over time is learn how to chase one rabbit and catch it. And that's what Nate's done. He's grown. He's not a freshman anymore. These guys come in here, they're stars on their high school team, they're stars on their AAU team, and now all of a sudden they become a role player. And they have to adjust to being a role player. And then when you're coaching them, you have to help them define their game. Here's what we want you to be. Here's what we want you to be good at. But at the same time, not taking any of their offensive freedom away. But Nate's just an example of a kid that's just developed and understands what it is we want him to do. And he's worked hard. Our staff, especially Kelvin works with Nate a lot. They've done a great job of developing him, become a better shooter. He's become a one rabbit chaser. And he's, in a huge game like that, sold out crowd, national television, senior day, big game, for him to have 16 points and 11 rebounds just shows you how far he's come.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Coach Sampson, thank you very much for taking some time with us here today, and we will see you later this week in Memphis.
Okay, thank you.